Very clever.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Celebrate Southern Africa. My name is Dawn Denton, and today I have the gorgeous Nats Koen, who I am going to chat to about, I think the motto I have in my head that I would give you is being brave, because you've done amazing stuff and you do what people dream of doing, or they wait until they're retired to do. So let's get into it. How are things in Wells in Somerset?
Things are good. It's a little bit rainy and windy as usual, Dawn. But yeah, good. Definitely stepping out of my comfort zone a lot, and have done, I would say, more so over the last couple of months, but generally over the past couple of years, I've definitely done that. So,
But what made you do, because it's easy to just swim along in life,
yeah.
but to suddenly take a step and set up your own business when you're young, it's the financial worry. Are we going to pay the bills?
Yeah.
What is it in you that suddenly went, that's it, my husband and I are going to start a business? But you did work for a while, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
So
I was in full-time employment, and so was Gerry. Gerry then began his journey with Billies and Tong whilst he was full-time employed. And then as things gradually progressed, things with Billies and Tong were getting busier. And then we got to that point of, does he take the leap or does he not? So there was a lot of debates about whether he should take the leap or not. And eventually he did. And that was obviously a huge step for us. We then, on a personal level, having a family wasn't necessarily in our path. So that was the moment we thought, well, let's put all our eggs and our energy into our careers. We're young enough to just let's try new things, let's give it our best shot. And then I took the leap after the first year of COVID. Billies and Tong picked up during COVID because everyone wanted doorstep deliveries, and local people wanted to learn more about the product because they had the time. They were at home reading up about it. We began a rapport with people, especially locally. And then I took the leap at the end of 2020. So it's all been scary steps, but by doing that, we've opened up so many new doors that we could never have expected.
And I think you also learn about yourself, because we sit in a little comfort zone and you think, okay, this is fine, I can do this, and now I just need to grow the business. But then suddenly when you're faced with another challenge, you think, and then you go, I'm actually okay, I can do this. But you need to have that faith. So why specifically Billies and Tong? So why Biltong? Because we know Southern Hemisphere, we love it, but why did you feel that was a business worth pursuing?
You know what, Dawn, there isn't an amazing story to the start.
Well, that's a shame.
Hey.
Oh, well, that's a shame. Okay, thanks very much.
No, honestly, it was just we were both in full-time employment, and Gerry was playing around in the garage, and all of a sudden up popped this Biltong box, and he had made it, and it just looked amazing, and we were like, that's so cool, let's see the response we get from it, and we put a couple up, and people we knew were like, oh, that's great, I'd love to make Biltong at home, can you make me one? And then we had more requests, and we were like, well, this is crazy, we're getting such amazing reviews and responses to it, let's start a Facebook page. So we started a Facebook page, and we were sharing boxes we'd made, and then we added on personalizing options to it where people had their names on it, and the response was getting bigger and bigger. And then we were like, well, let's get a website. And then that's when the branding came into play, and a very good Zimbabwean friend of ours created the branding for us, and everyone laughs and says your logo looks like it's Jurassic Park. So it's very easy to remember. And then from doing the boxes, we thought, well, let's add in some spice, because you need spice to make your own biltong. And then from there we were like, chopping boards, let's add some chopping boards into the mix. And then people were saying, why don't you, this might be a bit weird, but why don't you try doing biltong as well? Because Gerry had a recipe, he grew up on a farm, He knew how to make it. Obviously, there's a lot, especially in the UK, of steps you have to take to sell biltong. It's not an easy process, and rightly so. And there's rules and regulations you have to follow. And then we added that, and we thought, are we shooting ourselves in the foot by selling a product where you can make it at home and then making the product itself? But oddly enough, Dawn, they both work in conjunction with each other, and it's worked really well.
So did you then take on the role of the social media?
Yeah, I did. So I was doing social media in my full-time employment right up until the year of COVID. And so for me, although I was a manager of a team and I had to take the odd phone call, I was generally behind a computer day to day, not really essentially dealing with the public. So from there, I slowly started doing social media during the pandemic for Billies and Tong, and then it took off. And I was so nicely surprised with the responses I was getting and the engagement.
Why do you think, though? What did you do that's the secret sauce? Because that's what people always want to know is how do you do well on social media? What do you think you did that was so good?
I just think Gerry and I were being authentic. We weren't trying to be anyone else. We were just saying, hi, we're Gerry and Nats. These are our products. This is why we love living in Somerset. This is why we're proud to be Zimbabwean. This is why we love what we're doing at the moment. And I think that radiated in our posts, the enthusiasm to make things work, especially during the pandemic. People were, they were just following our journey. And all I can say is just by being authentic to who we are. It's easy to get lost in the social media world and compare yourself to others and put pressure on yourself, but we just sat back and we're just talking about ourselves and where we're from and why we love where we are in the UK. And so it just
and so
really
then
well.
you realized, actually I'm quite good at this and I am going to do this for other people. Is that how it happened, or did people approach you?
So Dawn, I started Billies and Tong social media. I then joined Billies and Tong. We knew kind of how hard it was to run a business during the pandemic. So we were facing such uncertainties, like we walked into the pandemic and we had an employee, Joe, who still helps us every now and again. And she's been incredibly loyal to our business. And unfortunately, at the start where we didn't know what was going to happen, we lost her. And that was an awful time for us because we didn't know what was on the other side of this pandemic door. So I joined doing the social media, and during that time I thought, wow, if this is overwhelming for us, then this is overwhelming, and rightly so, for everybody. So I was going into local community groups, and just off my own back I was sharing other businesses' news and updates to help them. So if I could see somebody was running a special offer on something or just needed help and didn't have that, that confidence to shout about themselves, I was just going in and saying, no, hey guys, have you seen? This is what they're doing. And I was doing it off my own back. And then as time went on, people were saying, Nats, you need to do this. This is your thing.
And so Facebook and Instagram, is that the kind of the two that you do, or do you do other social media?
I would say mostly in conjunction with each other, Facebook and Instagram mostly. We have a TikTok page or account for Billies and Tong, but it's one of those things where you have to constantly maintain videos, keep on top of it. So when it comes to showing off good photos and just sharing news and updates, Facebook and Instagram mainly. So but I've worked with a lot of them.
So the other thing that I find really difficult, and I think you're quite an organized person, but when you've got a lot of stuff going on, how do you keep your timetable so that you give a fair attention to everything? Because it's easy, you could lose yourself by doing too much. So do you allocate time? Are you really quite specific about your time? Do you put days aside? How do you manage your time when you've got business?
I'm still learning, Dawn. I'm still learning because Mojo's just started. So because I've just started doing the social media stuff, I have got a really intensive diary, which is even as organized as being color coded. So I know who's had my time, who needs my time, who's had shout outs here. And then I have people contact me on WhatsApp, so my clients are very proactive with me. I save what I do, so in case they want me to say, well, what have you done for me this week, I've got it all there. I've got stats. If you don't stay organized and on top of this kind of work, you will get lost in translation. And it's important for me to make sure I'm giving my time equally to everybody. And because I am responsible for me, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I always go above and beyond what I need to, but I'm passionate about it, Dawn, and I've got a passion about helping local businesses. So for me, it isn't necessarily a job, but yeah, I have got color codes going, so I know where I am.
Well, there's only 7 in the rainbow, so you're going to have to be really creative with
I'm going to have to
colors.
start going for pastel colors or something, Dawn.
So have you got mostly local businesses that you do social media for?
Yeah, so at the moment, mostly people, I would say, in the southwest. However, I spoke to somebody in Oxfordshire yesterday, who's potentially interested in having some help. So I wouldn't say I'd put a location on it, because it can be done virtually. But right now I have a lot of local clients who knew me, and then obviously when I released my new venture with Mojo, were literally, I need your help straight away. So that was really good.
So the thing is that the reason I ask about being local is that too many people rely on social media to reach the right people.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you've been really involved locally. So have you
Yes.
done loads of networking? What do you do that has raised your profile with local businesses?
I think a lot of people knowing who I am has been from Gerry and I, from Billies and Tong, where we've done local markets. We've got to know the local community by doing local markets and events. And where I've just started Mojo, I have got, well, I'm doing this with you today, and next week I have an event with Mendip District Council, where we'll be talking about effective ways to market your business, to help businesses who might feel like at the moment things are really tough, which they are, but we're all kind of in the same boat, I would say. I know everyone's got individual stuff going on, but this is definitely an event to help people think about other things that they may not have thought about.
So yeah, I think that would be something that I would always advise people, really, is don't just rely on social media to find those clients.
Yes.
Try and be as local as you can. And actually the network will grow, because everybody has a network of their own, so you go, and maybe no one in that room needs you, but they have a network each.
Yeah.
And so then that like magnifies. What are your goals now with Mojo? Because you're going to run out of time at some point. You're not going to have enough hours in the day.
So the goal would be to take over the world, Dawn, but that's not going to happen.
Well, we have to start small.
But I do have, and I'm not sure when I'll get there, but I will have a cutoff point where I'll say, these are my clients. They're all going to have my all, and there will be a cap for me where, these are who my people are. Essentially, these are who I'm working for, and I'm going to put everything into that. And if needs be, if they say thanks very much, but we no longer need your help, then obviously I'll open up my doors to other people. So it just depends. I'm only a couple of months in, and I've had the most incredible January, and which I'm so grateful for, which has been the best start to a new year with this new chapter. So
that's so exciting, because I also think there's something quite magical about being really positive, and I think positivity attracts luck and attracts good things. And I've known you always and I know when the doors close, we're not always positive, but publicly, when you are positive and things just, you really want to make things work, there's something quite magical about attracting good things, because some people take a long time to even just find their feet, and then it's like, should I stay? This is terrible, it's not working. But for you, bam, it's
I don't
there
know,
and
Dawn,
it's happening.
you wouldn't believe this, but I can be a bit introverted with people I don't know. And it takes a while, but I'm very much like my mum, and my mum has always been a vibrant, positive person that people gravitate towards. And one of the biggest things, and I know you'll agree with this, I have been incredibly lucky to have been brought up in Africa. And I tell you what, that place has got a slice of something that you can't even describe to people, that sticks with you. You know, I was in Zim last year, and this is going to sound so trivial, but even walking into a grocery store where, you know, the employees are, morning, do you want a basket? How are you today? You know, and I don't know, I've just been really lucky with the people I've been surrounded by and the life I've led. You know, I think that plays a big part in who I am. And you know, when you go somewhere, that's how that's the response you want. You know, you want somebody who's approachable, positive, you know, especially in the world we're living in now. You know, you've just got to keep your positive head on and just try your best. That's all I can say about it.
Well, I know that the two of you have decided that you also want to remain connected to Zimbabwe, and you found yourself a charity that you
Yes.
are supporting. So tell us a bit about why you felt important to do that, because, you know, a lot of people are like, well, you know, I need to actually pay the bills and I'd like to help people, but this is not. And then it's also about the difference that you can make.
Yeah.
But also charity that you can trust.
Yeah, well, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Dawn. Gerry and I, when we were kind of going through our fertility issues, which we're not afraid to talk about, you know, because we're in a world now where you can afford to be really open about it. But we said to ourselves, we kind of want to turn that into a positive thing, where we wanted to find a charity, because that was our way of saying, okay, let's, you know, put a spin on this and let's find something that we can work with through our adult lives, and give money to, that's close to our heart. And how this charity came to play was, I feel like it was fate. So an old school friend was talking to me about Zimbabwe. We went to school with him in Zimbabwe, and he actually played cricket for the Zimbabwe national cricket team. His brother's still in it. He's still in the Zimbabwe cricket team, and they're doing incredibly well. But he mentioned that his parents worked at Eden Ministries in Zimbabwe. It's a farm project. There's so much that goes on there. And his mum works in the clinic there. And I asked about, do they take donations? And he said yes, that's how they run. They need donations. There's different sections of the farm that you can donate to, and then obviously one of them was the orphanage. And it just seemed right for Gerry and I to donate a percentage of what we make with Billies to the orphanage. And we were so lucky to go and visit them last year. You know, it was honestly, it was probably one of the most rewarding days. And it ignited the fuel for us at Billies even more. We were like, right, you know, let's go.
Because the more successful you are, the more you can help other people.
100%. So, and the thing is, we're not high earners, I would say, but it's still rewarding to make.
But it's also, we forget that what we have is way more than most of the people on the planet.
Yeah.
And for us, if we focus on, okay, maybe I cannot buy a magazine this week because I don't really need a magazine, but that amount of money would actually be a meal for possibly 2 or 3 for a whole day, maybe. 100%. You know, just the fact that we buy that. So we have a great life, and we would probably find loads of coins like under the couch and in pockets and all sorts of stuff. So we forget that the smallest amount of money can have a huge impact. And I think the more we can focus on how we can make a difference, the better we will feel, but also we'll make a difference to the country that we love.
100%. You know, and Dawn, going there as well, and the farm, Zimbabwe, Africa, they're all in their own bubble, and they are all so happy, given some of the most trickiest situations they've had to be in. They're all still there, barely laughing, helping each other. And yeah, so I think it was a really rewarding trip to do.
Yeah, no, I think that's one way to remind us constantly about the power of the roots of where we were born and raised, and keeping that alive for us.
Yeah.
So Nats, tell us, how people get involved with what you are doing, and what kind of thing would you deliver for a client? So if a client said to you, I need some help with social media, what kind of work what do you actually do for them?
Okay, so it's so, again, I'm learning, but every client I've got at the moment is asking for something different. So I have the client that says, take my website and run with it, and post news and updates on Facebook and Instagram from what you can see. I have other clients who are very hands-on on WhatsApp, and they'll say, this week I need you to help me talk about this subject or push this area of my business, and send me photos. Other clients offer different aspects of work. So one company I work for is a local laundry business, and they do domestic and commercial services. So it might be that one week they'll say, listen, let's top up, let's get more domestic clients, and then next week let's cover the commercial stuff. So clients are welcome to be as hands-on as they like. I really don't mind. They can message me 24 hours a day, I'm free. Or they can just let me take over. So it depends on what they're looking for, but mostly it's keeping the pages active. So it looks like they're open, they're busy, their doors are open to new business, and it keeps the traffic going to their website, and just keeps their company profile active. I'll share into groups locally, and yeah, just keep their news going, keep their profile active.
And I think the thing is that we can spend a lot of time on social media, and then we don't do what we're really good at. So if you're an artist, 100%. You'd rather be being artist than spending time on social media. So and actually, the sooner you start with someone else doing your social media for you, the better and the quicker your business will grow.
Yeah, and you know what, Dawn, one thing I found, including with Gerry, is all these creative people have created the most incredible businesses, but the moment you say, get a spotlight, let's shout about what you've done, they're like, no, they back away, and they're like, I can't possibly do it. But then when I do posts about them and what they've achieved and what their business stands for, I get the most amazing engagement from it. So it's so rewarding shouting on their behalf off the rooftops how amazing they are. But all of these creators and all these creative people, they really are so used to standing in the background,
Yeah.
So I love talking about them, their business, and yeah, I love shouting about it.
Now, I know that people sometimes are a bit worried about getting someone in to do social media for them, because they are worried that it won't be their voice, and that it won't be their business and the kind of the values that's important to them. So that is really difficult, because if you've got 5 clients, 10 clients, 100 clients, whatever you have, it's being those individual voices, which is really hard.
It is, but I think I've had a pretty good way, and dare I say it, I've practiced well by being on the behind the scenes at Billies and Tong. So I've learned what works, and it's different per client, but I've worked with Billies and Tong. I've learned what works well, what doesn't work well, what posts kind of get the engagement in, what doesn't really attract an audience, and the importance, like you say, of talking as if you know that business inside and out. And even if, Dawn, I have to do loads of research, lots of talking to the client, I can't, I literally, and I'll post, you'll see we wear our heart on our sleeves, and it's so important to be authentic. So it's not in me to talk like a robot. I have to put that passion into it. Do you know what I mean? So, and because I love what I do, I think that also reflects in what I'm doing. So it just coincides really well. I do think by having Billies and Tong as a foundation and knowing the hard work that goes into keeping a business going, especially right now, it just makes you want to fight for it even more.
So now, do you have social media on your phone, and do you sit in the evenings and scroll through social media, or do you switch off?
I definitely don't switch off, Dawn. I do get some messages even into the night from my clients. And I've got that time. There are times I say to myself, right, come on now, give yourself a break. But generally, because I love it so much, Dawn, it doesn't feel like a job to me. And I've got to know my clients so well that I'm just so invested. So it's turning into a friendship as well.
Oh, that's so lovely. And that makes
Yeah.
it even more special, because then you do enjoy it. Like you said, it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like a job. Now,
Yeah.
you're also doing something very unusual. Well, for you, that you haven't done before. You are actually doing a talk at an event that you've never done before.
I'm so nervous.
Now, the thing is that, again, for some people, they stand up and they're fine and they can do it and it's no problem. But you really have to step out of your comfort zone to do
Yeah.
something really brilliant,
Yeah.
and do something so amazing. And what made you say yes?
I think, and dare I say it, Dawn, I could be shooting myself in the foot by saying this. It's a year of saying yes. And by saying yes, it's opening new doors. And obviously I'm saying yes in moderation. That's my disclaimer. But I I got I got approached to do this event, and there are different speakers. So I do think it's a really important event, actually, where there are different speakers talking about different areas of marketing your business effectively. And I do agree with you, and obviously I have to put what I do aside with you in saying you've got to look at every area of marketing your business. It's not just social media. And I say this to my clients as well. I say, listen, I'm helping you with social media, but there are other ways of making sure that you're marketing your business alongside, obviously, social media. But social media changes so much,
Yeah.
that you also still want to make sure, like you say, Dawn, you want to be having a regular blog, so you're active on search engines. You want to look at other ways to market yourself locally, online, whatever it is. So I'll be talking from a social media point of view as to why I think people should give it a go. And I'll be talking about the stats. I'll be giving stats, and somebody else will be talking from a website point of view, SEO point of view, videography point of view. So yeah, I'm doing the social media side.
How exciting.
Oh God, no pressure, Dawn.
I wish I could come and sit in the background and wave at you from the other
No,
side.
because you're my mentor, Dawn, so I think I'd feel even more pressure.
I'll dress up with a wig. I'll come with a wig and stuff, so you don't know it's me. I'll have to
Maybe
learn
I
another
should do the
accent.
whole wig thing so nobody knows who I am.
That's a good idea. No, you want them to know who you are. The other thing that I often wonder about, because I think for Dan and I, I don't think we would always work very well together. We've tried before and it hasn't worked. What is it like working with your husband?
So Dawn, we actually worked together before Billies and Tong years ago, and that was tough. And doing it for a second time, everyone said, "Are you sure, guys? Are you sure?" But we went into this older, wiser, knowing how to handle it, and we've learned to kind of make sure that we respect each other's boundaries, we respect each other's strengths, and we respect each other's space. So when we go into work, we each know our departments, we come together at lunch, and in our personal life, we don't bring that into our personal life. We learn to sit down and talk it through. What can we do better? What can we improve on? It's all about communication. I think we've just learned that we've just grown up, I guess. We've just learned from what we've done in the past. So it just works.
That's
But
brilliant.
I'm at home today, so it's even better. We're not in each other's shoes. So
Fantastic. Nat, tell us how we can get hold of you. So your website and social media for both Billies and Tong and for Mojo. That would be great.
So Billies and Tong is billiesandtong.com. And it's the word "and" rather than the ampersand. It's billiesandtong.com. And then the social media side is mojostudiomedia.co.uk, or I can be found on Facebook and Instagram just at Mojo Studio Media, and up pops my branding. So
and why Mojo? Why Mojo?
Mojo, if you research Mojo, it's another word for influence. And that was a biggie, because I'm not saying I'm an influencer, but social media has influence on people, and my office is kind of like a studio, and media is obviously, you know, media. So it just worked, you know. So it just kind of fell into place. So,
and that's brilliant. And the colors, did you choose them specifically?
So the colors were specific because once I got the office space, I got in a lot of plants, because I just wanted my office to be alive with that greenery, and that nature feeling. So I got the green for like the pastel green colors, and then the pink just worked really well with that. But mostly it was, I had my office space, I filled it with some amazing flowers, and just thought I'm going to go down that route, because obviously I'm really proud of the office. So yeah,
I find it really interesting how people find their colors, you know, because sometimes, like, I love the color purple because it gives me, it's royal.
Yeah.
You know? It's also it's historic. It's, you know, it shows kind of leadership and strength.
Your book is in purple, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I've got that there. So that's I don't think you can see because I've got this background.
Oh, I can see it a little bit. Yes, yeah. I thought it was purple.
Yeah, and then I like yellow because my name's Dawn, and it's like sunrise, and it's happy color.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. It is actually really interesting hearing people's like you say, how their branding was born.
Well, Nats, thank you so much, and best of luck for your experience next week.
Thank you.
And if anybody is interested in just finding out how you can start adding social media, taking your social media to the next level, and stopping that obsession that you have as a sole trader or a small business, that you have to be on social media all the time. You haven't learned how to do it because you're so busy doing other stuff that you just post for the sake of it. And then you get despondent because you're not seeing engagement. It's not being, your content's not being shared. There's no one liking it, or, you know, saying, wow, that's great, or whatever. So I think everybody out there should consider just getting in touch with Nats and asking what is possible and what the next step is. And Nats can help you. And of course, if you love Biltong, well, you know, you kind of need to get in hold of Billies and Tong. Yes. You've also got the lovely pepper. I love that.
Oh, salt and pepper. That was based off our recent trip to Zim. That seems to be one of their top flavors there at the moment. So we thought we'll do that. So it's just lovely flavors. Yeah.
Love it. So best of luck, and thank you so much for joining us and sharing about social media, and good luck next week. I'm fingers crossed.
Thank you, Dawn. For you. And thank you for everything, Dawn. We really appreciate you and all you do for Celebrate Southern Africa, and you've been a massive part of our journey. So we appreciate you.
Thank you. Love you lots. Chat soon.
Bye. Love you guys. Bye.